An archive contains materials created or received by a person, family, or organization, public or private, in the conduct of their affairs. An archive preserves these materials because of the enduring value contained in the information or as evidence of the functions and responsibilities of their creators. Increasingly, companies are granting access to the types of content that have traditionally only been provided by archives, for example, Ancestry.com. At the same time, content of important historical, cultural, and evidentiary value is becoming more dynamic and is being created in new digital formats, websites, videos, tweets, Snapchats, etc. Given all of these changes, we need to better understand how users think about archives and what impact that has on their assessment of archival content as trustworthy. Consequently, I developed the Trust in Archives, Trust in Digital Archival Content, or TIA-TDAC framework, a conceptual model for understanding how users' trust in archives influences their trust in digital archival content. In my model, users' trust in archives can be based on the perceived reputation of an archive, users' past experience with an archive, or users' perceptions of archives as good sources of information, generally speaking. Users' trust in digital archival content can be based on a perceived lack of tampering with the content, the extent to which users think the content is faithful to the original, as well as the perceived accuracy and reliability of the content. To test the TIA-TDAC framework, I developed a study to explore the relationship between trust in archives and trust in digital archival content. My overarching research question for the study was, in what way is users' trust in archives, TIA, associated with their trust in digital archival content, TDAC? To address my research question, I selected real-world digital archival content from 4 different archives. 2 of the items, a marriage certificate and a death certificate, were digitized. By digitized, I mean that the marriage and death certificates were originally from an analog source and then later converted to digital information. The other 2 items, a website and a film, were born digital. By born digital, I mean information that was initially captured in digital form and remains digital. Last month, I administered an online questionnaire as a human intelligence task, or HIT, in Amazon Mechanical Turk to 2,312 archives users and potential archives users who were located in the United States. I found that participants who thought archives in general were good sources of information rated the trustworthiness of the digitized death certificate, website, digitized marriage certificate, and the film ranked that more highly than those who thought archives were bad sources of information. I also found that participants who had positive experiences with the archives where the content that was used in the study came from rated the trustworthiness of said content more highly than those who had a bad experience with those archives. For example, participants who had a positive experience using the Missouri State Digital Archives rated the trustworthiness of the digitized death certificate that came from the Missouri State Digital Archives more highly than those who had a negative experience using the Missouri State Digital Archives. Taken together, these results suggest that increased perception of trust in archives is associated with increased perception of trust in digital archival content. Google and other search engines may ambiguate the archival source of content, and this could have an adverse impact on users who are trying to decide if they can trust content that they have found. Thus, archives should work diligently to package information about who preserved or digitized their content wherever their content can or will be found in the future. This study is the first study to provide a conceptual framework and statistical measurement model for explaining and examining the association between trust in archives and trust in digital archival content from the user's perspective. Future research will apply the conceptual framework and statistical measurement model to new types of digital content and archives that archives will become responsible for preserving in the future. Thank you.